My name is Jenna Pilant, and I'm a style-crazed full-time creative living in sunny San Diego. In 2016, my husband and I purchased our forever home, and now, in between balancing my upholstery business, our 4 dogs, and just life in general, I'm going to renovate our home room by room, project by project myself, with some fun help from a few of my friends along the way. And I'm going to share it all with you right here on YouTube. So, are you ready to see a room bloom?
Well, the fireplace demo is done, folks. But as you know, I didn't really have a plan in place as to what to do with all that debris left over. Yep, rookie mistake. Thankfully though, after asking around in our neighborhood, I was able to find Carlos, a hired hand who does odd-end jobs with his son on the weekends for some extra cash. They arrived on a Saturday morning, worked oh so efficiently, and had all that debris cleaned up and loaded up within a few hours' time. I was really impressed. Plus, after doing all that demoing, I was beyond thankful that I didn't have to do the cleanup myself. The remaining fireplace structure was nothing special to look at. A little bit ugly, to be frank. But through my research, I learned that what I was looking at was a heatilator, which is a combination of a heater and ventilator. Translation: a fireplace that circulates air. It uses a special venting system that draws in the cool room air and releases warmer air in its place, making it very heating efficient, which will come in so handy during those cold San Diego months. I also found out that the original location of the mantle wasn't up to code either. So I guess it was kind of kismet it falling and getting damaged during renovation demolition. Plus, subtracting the mantle will also help make the fireplace much more contemporary looking. When rebuilding the fireplace structure, I knew we had to use all non-combustible materials, meaning we would not be using wood, but instead steel framing, which is why I once again called on my contractor friend Steve for some guidance, as I had never worked with steel framing before. Through Steve's direction, I was able to figure out what size the structure needed to be for the fireplace tile and how to install both steel tracks and studs for the structure. It's sort of like a puzzle, and I love puzzles, which is probably why I also love upholstery now that I think of it. Puzzles. I know it's gonna sound strange, but I seriously had so much fun figuring out which piece of framing went where. With every track and stud I added, the more I could see the new fireplace take shape. And after I got the base of the structure built, Steve graciously helped me get the ceiling tracks in place as well. It was imperative for the success of the fireplace tile for everything to be both plumb and level. So sometimes it's just smart to have a second pair of hands and eyes on a job site. Before we started securing the upper framing in place, I had a last-minute idea. I decided to tag the inside of the fireplace with both me and Dee's names, just like my father did when he built the house I grew up in. Securing the upper framing in place was a very exciting process for me because I knew with each screw we were one step closer to our new fireplace. After all the vertical studs were in place, we decided it might be a good idea for me to add some additional ones in between the verticals at different angles for added support. And boy, I am so glad I did because that baby is rock solid. It ain't going nowhere. And then it was time for HardieBacker, which is the cement board that's also a non-combustible material. It's what goes in between the framing and the fireplace tile, and is actually what the tile is glued on. And as it turns out, is even more of a puzzle than the actual framing itself, as I wanted to be as cost efficient as possible with the supplies we had. Thus, we had to carefully plan out all of the cuts we were making with the angle grinder. Then it was time to attach all those Tetris-looking HardieBacker pieces in place. Steve and I really work well together. We both have great work ethics, and I am just amazed by his know-how and know better than anyone how lucky I am to have his help and expertise here on Room Bloom. After all the HardieBacker was installed, Steve encouraged me to call it a day. But once again, seeing our accomplishments with my very own eyes only caused me to have more energy. So I decided to call it a day after I applied the mesh tape over the tapered joints of the HardieBacker and joined them permanently together with thin set. I mean, the thin set has to dry after all, right? So why not finish that up first? Join me here next week for Operation Tile That Fireplace. I cannot wait to show you the rad tile we picked out.